Hey everybody, this is Andrew from Gameosity, and today we're going to look at a special game. We're going to be checking out Mystic Vale from AEG, Alderac Entertainment Group. What we have here is, well, it might be the next generation, the next mutation of the whole deck building genre. So as I said, Mystic Vale is a deck-building game for 2 to 4 players. And what we have here is both a beautiful pastoral game about druids creating a magical landscape of flora and fauna, and we have a technological monstrosity that might kind of change the face of the genre for better or for worse. As soon as you open Mystic Vale, it's pretty clear that things are weird. Here comes a cat. It's totally cool. You've got your rulebook, and then what the heck? It is a deck-building game, which traditionally means you have a basic deck, you have cards that give you currency, and then you get new cards, and they are better at doing whatever they do. They accrue points, they destroy enemies, they beat your opponents. In Mystic Vale, you start with a basic deck, and most of these basic cards are, well, marginally useful. You've got cards that provide currency in the form of these blue dots and the spoilage symbols, which bust because there's a little bit of a push your luck element too. But a lot of the cards in your starting deck are just blank. They're empty. These are the raw building materials from which you're going to construct your deck. Because unlike many deck building games, unlike every deck building game I've ever played, instead of getting new cards into your deck, you're going to be building onto your cards. So here's how a typical turn works. On your turn, you're going to be drawing cards from your deck, and unlike most deck builders, which is a phrase we keep using over and over again because there's a lot that Mystic Vale does that isn't like most deck builders, you're not going to be drawing a specific number of cards. Instead, you're going to draw until you either stop or you bust. And the way you bust is by exposing 3 of these spoil symbols. So if you look at my deck, I might draw 1 card. Okay, no spoil symbol, that's great. And the blue is currency. And then another card, okay, 1 spoil symbol. And then a blank card, that's something to grow on. And then another card, okay, so that's my second spoil symbol. If I expose a 4th, that's where I bust. And technically, before I draw a card, I show it. That card is on the top of my deck. If that had been the 4th spoil symbol, I would have busted. I can draw it, but I am forced to flip over another card at that point, and again, 4th spoil symbol, and you bust. So here I can just stop. This doesn't count for currency. The top card of your draw deck only counts for determining whether you bust or not. Incidentally, if you do bust, every player has one of these tokens, and it sits there fallow. As soon as you bust, the compensation for losing your turn is that you get to flip that over, and it acts as a currency for your next round. So there's a little bit of a it's not really a catch-up mechanism, but it takes the sting out of losing a turn a little. And so what I have here is I've got these 3 blue gems. And so what can I do with that? Well, I can buy card improvements in the form of these. This is the commons, the available market. And it's also devilishly hard to film and photograph, so we're sorry about the glare. But I'm going to hold one up. As you can see, you see? Card is in 3 segments, and one of those segments is filled in, the rest is transparent. And so if I buy this Field of Flowers, which would give me 2 extra currency, instead of adding it to my deck, what I get to do is I get to add it to one of my cards. And so the strategy there is, do I lump it in an otherwise empty card so that this card now becomes useful? Do I stack it in this fertile soil that is always productive? And that's where you're going to be making your decisions. And then you'll take your card, which will be sleeved, and they come with sleeves, and you'll slot it in, and now you've made a much more powerful card. And so what's one of the unique things about Mystic Vale is that it's a deck builder where you never get more cards. The total number of cards in your deck is completely static. Instead, you're making your cards more and more powerful. And you've got 3 rows in the commons. Each row the top row is relatively cheap, and they're your acceleration cards. And then the middle row and the bottom row produce bigger and bigger effects. So these advancement cards do more than just buy more of themselves. Some of them create synergies that let you earn victory points more easily. Some of them are worth victory points just on the spot. Oh, and when I say victory points, I mean these piles of druid crystals. The winner of the game will be the person who's amassed a deck replete in those. And in fact, some of these advancements will let you draw those crystals every time you play them, in addition to being just worth points at the end of the game. The other thing that they feature are a whole secondary resource set, these animal symbols, and the animal symbols let you buy Vale cards. And Vale cards are, well, many of them are just points, and some of them are unique abilities that'll trigger every turn, or insurance against busting. Overall, they're just, and these don't go in your deck, these actually sit in your tableau. And they're just a neat secondary way of earning both victory points and manipulating the flow of the game a little bit. And basically, for the most part, that's Mystic Vale. It's not a very complicated game at all. You'll draw some cards, you'll buy advancements, maybe get a Vale card or 2, gather up some chips, and once this supply is gone, the game's over, and everybody adds up their points, and the winner is the person who's got the highest score. And that kind of surprises me because, honestly, I looked at this game, and I looked at the card crafting system and all that went into it, and I thought, this is going to be a fairly complicated game. But the truth is, Mystic Vale is really light, and it's actually a fairly simple game, mechanically speaking. And that's either great news or a bummer, depending on what kind of games you enjoy. We like kind of lighter deck-building games, and so this is right up our alley. And it's a satisfying game to play for a lot of reasons. I mean, beyond just the interest of how these cards go together, it's satisfying to turn something like this into a monstrosity like this, where you got rules and symbols and a vertical strip that gives you endgame scoring and all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's maybe a little limited. And I don't say that as a bad thing. It's just, unlike many, many deck builders that have alternate cards or a wealth of expansion packs to draw on, Mystic Vale is what's in the box right now. And while there's a ton of stuff, this is a third of the advancement deck. There are 3 tiers of them, as I said earlier. It's eventually going to be something that you've kind of seen everything, and you'll settle into a strategy, and you'll know what you're doing, and you'll have favorite cards and favorite card combinations. And that's great, if that's what you're interested in. But it means that the game has just a little bit less longevity. It also means that it's a game that's going to completely benefit from expansions. So I think AEG is putting out one, I think this year, hopefully by the end of the year. If not, soon, I'm sure, because it's a game that is just waiting to be expanded. If you like deck builders, you're probably going to like Mystic Vale. But I think the best way that I can put it is, if you know you want this game because you look at it and it looks really interesting, and the theme's cool, and the way the card crafting system works is appealing, you know you want the game. If you're on the fence about it, play it. Maybe wait for the expansion to drop, because that'll add a lot of flexibility to the game. And if you hate deck builders, I don't know if this is going to be the one that sells it to you, because at its core, it's a simple, straightforward deck building game, which for us is awesome, and that may not be true for everybody. So that's our review of Mystic Vale, a deck building, card crafting, technological feat that we just really love. It's new. It feels new, and it feels interesting, and we're really excited to see where it's going. I think John D. Clare has done something really cool here, and I can't wait to see how far AEG can take it. Thanks for watching our videos. This has been Andrew from Gameosity. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Share us with your friends. Check out our reviews on our main site at Gameosity.com. And we'll see you next game.